Signs you are a spiritually awakened INFJ. In this video, we are going to take a look at the signs that you are a spiritually awakened INFJ. According to the Myers Briggs personality indicator, INFJs are the rarest personality types. They are among the most spiritually inclined ones as well. But going through a spiritual process and being spiritually awakened are two different things altogether. So what exactly are the signs that help you know whether an INFJ is a spiritually awakened person? We'll take a look at that shortly, but before we do, we'd like to remind you that these videos come to you for free. We are trying to make sure that you get to understand the world and the people around us a lot better. In order to show support to our endeavors, you can subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell too. Also, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Every person has a different idea as to what spiritual awakening really is. Some of them have this notion that if they have a moment of emotional clarity about a pain that has been nagging at them for years, they have achieved spiritual awakening. Others believe that there are things about being spiritually awakened which last with you forever. But what really are the signs that an INFJ is spiritually awakened? Let's take a look. Number 1. You've learned to unlearn. This is one of the biggest markers that helps you decide whether an INFJ is spiritually awakened. Learning something takes time and effort. It also requires a lot of dedication. But unlearning something is also a part of being a spiritually awakened INFJ. Say a person has broken your trust deeply, or that they have broken your heart. Most people have this automatic response that they wouldn't open up to someone else, or they become picky about the type of people they hang out with. But every person is different. If you look at a new person with the same lens that you looked at the person who broke your heart, you'll never be able to love as freely or be able to form new friendships with the same ease. It is only when you realize that the lesson you learned from your previous relationship or friendship applied to that person only, and that you've got to look at a new person with the same curious eyes of a child, you know that you are a spiritually awakened INFJ. Number 2. Sense of alienation. Not all things after your spiritual awakening become beautiful. There will be things that bother you too. A heightened sense of consciousness means that you will find other people are not quite in your plane. They'll be fretting over little or unimportant details that you've learned aren't actually all that important. But you find that you learn to be more at peace without such trifle matters. So a spiritually awakened INFJ might definitely feel that the world is lagging behind the pace at which they are operating. And the fact that you can't quite transmit your spiritual awakening to others will also increase your frustration. This comes about because others might not be able to watch things from a spiritually awakened eye as you are doing. Number 3. Spending more time in natural settings. When you are spiritually awakened, spending time in natural settings gives you a more freeing feeling. When you get a sense of connection with the nature around you, you have a peaceful, easy feeling. In addition, you have a much more grander vision of life, much like one of the old poems of May Elizabeth Fry. When you awaken in the morning hush, I am the sweet, uplifting rush of quiet birds in circled flight. I am the soft stars that shine at night. As a spiritually awakened INFJ, you also get to feel that you are a part of nature as much as nature is in you. Number 4. You're non-attached rather than being detached. There is a rather classic picture of a person who goes on their spiritual journey, alone, more like a monk who renounced everything to find themselves. Well, it is not necessarily true that these images represent reality. You can be spiritually awakened in the middle of the flow of life as well. But after achieving spiritual awakening, the INFJ is not withdrawn from the world. He is more like the Bodhisattva, who finds his awakening and becomes deeply involved in life to help other sentient beings around them become enlightened too. So despite being deeply involved in the awakening of others, INFJs don't necessarily feel attached to them. It is more like a non-attachment instead of straight-up detachment. Number 5. Increase in intuition. One of the problems with modern lives is that people have given up on intuitive learning or have learned to mistrust their intuition. But after being a spiritually awakened INFJ, you'll be more at ease with your intuitive side. If you feel that a person who is close to you is struggling with a psychological or emotional issue, you will be able to recognize that a lot more easily than you ever did before. You'll also be able to have better conversations with them and feel that you have more empathy towards others than you did before, not that you were lacking empathy to begin with. Number 6. Heightened sense of inauthenticity and manipulation. The increase in your intuitive powers also mean that you are able to identify the people who try to manipulate others a lot quicker. And depending upon the feeling, you might want to avoid them or be involved in the task of improving others. Since as a spiritually awakened INFJ, you are not wholly attached to transmit your spiritual awakening to others. You might also feel that you are not empathetic towards the people who are inauthentic or manipulative. You might also feel that those people will become more genuine when their time truly comes. So transmitting your spiritual awakening won't be a compulsive idea, but more like a thing you transmit to others when you're at ease. Number 7. Letting go of previous habits. As an INFJ, you might have some quirky habits that you are not able to let go. Perhaps you have a sense of creativity where you work incessantly on something day in and day out, and after the completion of this task, you feel utterly drained. And this is followed by an extended period of time when you are not able to drag yourself to work. But after your spiritual awakening, you will find that you can let go of habits like these. You'll be able to find more control over your actions, and even when you feel that there are days where you feel utterly uninspired in your work, you are able to ride this storm and make it better. Number 8. Display more compassion. As an INFJ, you might always have felt that you understood other people a lot better than they understood themselves. But after your spiritual awakening, you will be able to add a new dimension to your understanding, and that is of compassion. There is a Buddhist doctrine where it is believed that a bodhisattva attains enlightenment. But in addition to that, he also wants to make sure that all other beings also achieve enlightenment through limitless compassion. Although the image of limitless compassion might be too high of a standard, you, as a spiritually awakened INFJ, have a deep well of compassion from which you can share bodhisattva-like qualities such as loving, kindness, compassion, empathetic joy, and equanimity. Number 9. You open up more. Before your spiritual awakening, you, as an INFJ, might have had some troubles opening up with others. You might have felt that you need to shoulder the responsibility of taking all other people's emotions into consideration. You might also have felt that while taking others into account, you hid a part of you or that you compromised on your own betterment. But after your spiritual awakening, you don't need to alienate your own feelings. You take the emotions of others into consideration, but don't hesitate to put your emotions forward too. What this does is create a harmony between the expectations others might have of you and your own wishes. So as a spiritually awakened INFJ, you no longer have this compulsion of keeping it all within you. Number 10. You're able to handle contrasts with people's personalities better. Taoism, an ancient Chinese philosophy, believes that the wholeness of a person lies in two opposing qualities they have. They are capable of great love as well as great hatred. The ability to experience great happiness and drag themselves to the abyss of their greatest miseries. We, as human beings, are a bundle of contradictions, sometimes doing things that are not in accord with what we believe or say. After becoming a spiritually awakened INFJ, you can see these opposing forces in people a lot more easily than you did before. While you might have felt previously that people need to be linear and keep their word at all times, or stick to a single guiding principle in life, after your awakening, you will be able to let go of these rigidities a lot more easily. As a person who is more easily attuned to following their intuitions a lot better than others and following where their emotions lead them, an INFJ's spiritual awakening is more like coming of age rather than a sudden transformation. Which of the aforementioned signs of a spiritually awakened do you identify with the most? Please let us know in the comments down below. Also, if you don't want to miss out on more of these videos on the personalities of various people, please do not forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification. Hitting the thumbs up button is another way of showing support to our channel, so please don't forget to leave a like. We'll see you soon with a new video. In the meanwhile, you can watch the video on the screen.